Well, the heat is on this week. High pressure and firm control, which means our temperatures are going to trend up and our rain chances are going to trend down. In fact, with the humidity, it's going to feel like 100 pretty much every afternoon until further notice. There's a slight chance of rain this week, but we're not talking much. But also, could be talking about our first named storm out in the Atlantic as well. More on that in just a minute. All right, tomorrow morning when you wake up, a warm and muggy start to the day. Temperatures will be in the mid-70s. With the humidity, it'll feel a bit warmer than that. But tomorrow afternoon, typical summertime heat, right? We're back into the mid-90s across the Metroplex, and pretty much everybody's the same as well. With all of that humidity, we'll have a tough time getting to 100 or at least close to that for the next few days. Now, that may change by the end of the week, but either way, when you combine that with the humidity, it's going to feel more like New Orleans or Houston out there with temperatures feeling like the lower 100s. So just remember to drink plenty of water and also hop in the air conditioner as well. But if you're hoping for any kind of relief, you're not going to get it. In fact, it feels like temperatures gradually trending up as we get later on into the week. Still below heat advisory criteria, but if you are outdoors a lot, if you're maybe mowing the lawn during the afternoon, this is not pleasant to do that in. So maybe do it in the morning or late in the evening. When it's not quite as hot, though. You may have to deal with the mosquitoes. But either way, humidity going to be an issue throughout the week, and so will the heat. You can see there's that hot area of high pressure just parked over the southeastern United States. And this is going to cause a big heat wave over the eastern United States this week. We're going to see triple-digit heat 100s all the way up into New England, down to New York City as well, and all the way to the Carolinas. So that's going to be a big story. The high won't be directly on top of us here in North Texas, but just enough control once again to keep our rain chances low and our temperatures warmer than average. But the core of the heat will be over the eastern United States over the next couple of weeks, but still above average here across the Lone Star State. Rain chances will be pretty low, but throughout the week it'll be the same pattern. The sea breeze helping to spark up a couple of showers and storms down to the southeast, but realistically rain chances are pretty low here in the Metroplex. Best chance, though, looks to be on Thursday. There may be a little bit extra moisture around, but even then, I'm just throwing in a 10% chance for right now. You can see really drying out. If you're lucky, you'll see 1/10 of an inch over the next week or so, but some opportunities maybe in the longer range for some better rain chances. All right, quick tropical update. The Eastern Pacific continues to spin up storms. Flossie's the next name over there. We may see something spin up out in the open Atlantic this week as well. Hurricane center increasing chances, but this is a fish storm. It's going out to sea, which means it's only a problem for the fish. So we're not worried about that, but the first name on the list is Andrea. All right, 7-day forecast. It's looking like summer here in North Texas. We are in the 90s every single afternoon. It will feel like the triple digits. And by next weekend, we could be flirting with 100. Casey?
Boy, boy. Here we go. All right, Dylan, thank you.
Well, all eyes are on Category 5 Hurricane Milton. Here it is on satellite this morning. Notice in the past couple of hours, the eye has become a little bit harder to notice on satellite. That tells me that Milton is starting to feel a little bit of wind shear and a little bit of dry air. So Milton may start to weaken a bit, but either way, this is expected to be an extremely dangerous hurricane when it makes landfall in Florida tonight. Notice the impacts are already starting there in the Sunshine State. Tornado warnings in southwest Florida this morning. Heavy flooding rain up towards Orlando, Dayton Beach, and over towards Tampa as well. But just offshore, there's the eye. And notice I'm going to overlay the Hurricane Center's track with the radar. The eye has been running a little bit to the east of the track this morning. And this is a big deal because this may mean that it may come in a little bit further south than what's currently forecasted and may put southwest Florida at a greater risk of a direct strike. Zooming in on the eye a bit, there it is. And notice that yellow ring surrounding the eye. That is the eye wall. That's where the core of destructive winds are. Though I do think that this is starting to undergo some structural changes. Notice that secondary ring. This may be the beginnings of an eye wall replacement cycle, which all this will do is make the storm bigger right before it makes landfall. So more people will feel those strong winds. So 160 miles mile-per-hour winds. Milton, 907 millibars. This is the strongest hurricane in the Gulf since Hurricane Rita in 2005. Milton forecast to make landfall just south of Tampa, somewhere between Tampa and Fort Myers, is a Category 4 hurricane tonight. Let's show you the futurecast radar just to give you an idea of what this is going to look like later on today. As we get towards mid-afternoon, there's the eye offshore, bands moving on shore, and then as we get into tonight, there's the eye making landfall somewhere in west central Florida, and that core of destructive winds going up I-4 up towards the Orlando area. That's why this has the potential to be one of the greatest natural disasters in American history, because not just because of the wind, but also the rain and also the storm surge as well. 5 to 10 inches of rain there in Florida, but the storm surge is the main concern with this. Tampa Bay down to Sarasota and then towards Cape Coral, 10 to 15 feet of storm surges forecast there. Isolated totals could end up being towards 20 feet of surge. This section of the coast has gotten very lucky over the years. Hurricane Charlie missed them to the south. Ian did as well, and then Irma surge stayed away as well. So it does look like their luck is going to run out today in west central Florida with catastrophic storm surge expected along the coast. So here's the bottom line. Historic hurricane strike is expected tonight. The highest threat is to west central Florida. Catastrophic storm surge is expected along the coast with widespread extensive wind damage extending far inland, potentially into Orlando and the Treasure Coast of Florida as well. So we'll continue tracking this here at Fox 4. And now let's have a look at our local weather.
We're very busy in the tropics. We have Category 4 Hurricane Fiona moving northward away from the Bahamas. We have Tropical Storm Gaston in the far northern Atlantic. 2 more tropical waves which could develop in the far eastern Atlantic, but it's the tropical wave with a high chance of development that we're going to have to watch as it moves into the Caribbean over the next several days. Here it is on satellite this afternoon. Invest 98L. Doesn't look terribly organized at the moment, just a scattered area of storms, and it is dealing with some northerly wind shear as well. But over the next several days, this will get better organized as it moves into the Caribbean. So this begs the question, where exactly is this going and how strong could it get? Let's talk about it. Well, here's the latest computer models, and they're in excellent agreement over the next several days, tracking this westward into the west central and then eventually the northwestern Caribbean heading into early next week, where we'll likely be talking about a rapidly strengthening storm. So we're going to have to watch this very closely, not just here in Florida, but along the Gulf Coast as well. Here's what we're thinking steering-wise. This is being steered west right now by the Bermuda High. And over the next several days, this is going to continue off to the west. And by early next week, a very strong trough is going to be digging down into the Great Lakes region, opening up a weakness over the eastern Gulf of Mexico, and this would allow this disturbance to turn northward into the eastern Gulf of Mexico, potentially threatening somebody along the Gulf Coast midweek next week. So we are going to have to watch this very closely in the coming days. What about the conditions for strengthening? They look very favorable. Take a look at this. Over the next several days, as this tropical wave moves off towards the west, lots of moisture to work with, and by the time we get towards early next week, this is embedded within a pocket of deep tropical moisture and no dry air to disrupt it. Water temperatures also looking very warm, and also the Caribbean is untapped, and the water is very warm and very deep, so this is an extremely favorable setup for strengthening there as well. And then wind shear, in the short term, it will be dealing with some northerly wind shear actually associated with Fiona's outflow. But once this gets past the Dominican Republic and Jamaica and gets into the northwestern Caribbean early next week, this is going to be underneath an upper level high, providing ventilation in multiple directions. So this looks very favorable low wind shear wise for this to strengthen as well. So bottom line is very possible we'll be talking about a hurricane in the northwestern Caribbean by early next week. And the next name on the list is Hermine at the Weather Authority. We'll be tracking this very closely in the coming days, but it wouldn't be the worst idea to at least review your hurricane plan. Meanwhile, in the far northern Atlantic, we have Tropical Storm Gaston. Nice burst of convection there over the past few minutes. Winds of 65 miles per hour, making it a strong tropical storm. And over the next several days, Gaston's going to meander in the northern Atlantic and eventually fizzle out. But this poses no threat to us here in the United States. Finally, we have Major Hurricane Fiona. There's that eye popping out this afternoon, moving off to the north, and this is going to bring significant impacts not just to Bermuda, but also Canada as we head towards this weekend. Right now, winds of 130 miles per hour, making it a strong Category 4 hurricane, and over the next several days, racing off to the north, bringing perhaps 100-plus mile-an-hour winds to Nova Scotia as we head towards Saturday. So this is going to be a very major impact for parts of Canada. Back home in southwest Florida, 92 the high this afternoon. Scattered showers and storms remaining in the forecast as we head towards the second half of today. You can see timing this out, dry for now, but as we head towards mid-afternoon by 2:30, there's that Gulf sea breeze lighting up with those storms, and these storms continue to build and spread across the rest of the area as we head towards 4:30 and 6 o'clock as well. So that evening commute does look to be stormy for some of you, so make sure you have the rain gear ready along with the Wink weather app, and you should be good to go. The good news is heading into tonight, these do begin to fizzle out, and we should begin to dry out after that. Here's a look at your 7-day forecast. So scattered storms today, 92 the high. Tomorrow, first day of fall, it's going to be 93 degrees, so it's going to be a hot start to the new season, and we're going to be looking at lower rain chances through Friday as well. Beyond that, looking ahead to the weekend and early next week, we're going to begin seeing increasing rain chances and cloudiness as well as the Caribbean disturbance gets closer and closer to Cuba. Keep in mind, too, parts of southwest Florida are still in the cone, so we cannot rule out a direct hit to the Wink viewing area. Another thing to notice, over the past several hours, Ian has been moving generally towards the northeast. It's clear as day on radar. You can see that motion towards the northeast, and this is more easterly than what the Hurricane Center has been forecasting. Let me show you the track with the eye. You can see the eye is clearly running to the right once again with that track. So as long as Ian keeps on moving further east than expected, this means that we are at a greater risk of a direct strike from a major hurricane here in southwest Florida. And the thing you have to consider too is that Ian is coming in at a different angle than Irma. So if you did not see flooding in Irma, you will likely see storm surge flooding from Ian. The core of destructive winds with Hurricane Ian are just offshore, and the hurricane hunters are in there investigating it right now, and they actually deployed some special drones into the eye wall, and I was just looking at the data just above the surface, found 190 mile per hour winds.
Well, the big story right now is Hurricane Beryl, Category 4 hurricane with 150 mile per hour winds. A closer look at Beryl. This is a zoomed in visible satellite loop of it moving directly over the island of Carriacou just about an hour ago. Widespread extensive damage has been reported on the island of South Florida, where a historic tornado outbreak has been ongoing this morning. At one point, we had as many as 9 tornado warnings at once, multiple confirmed tornadoes on the ground as we speak. Let me show you some of the pictures so far this morning. A wedge tornado near Clewiston, Florida. That's near Lake Okeechobee. These are the kinds of tornadoes that you see here in Texas and Oklahoma, not in South Florida. And we've got some more pictures as well. This tornado crossed Interstate 75 in Alligator Alley earlier this morning. With Helene making landfall as a Category 4 hurricane yesterday, this is now the 9th major hurricane, so Category 3 plus, to make landfall in the United States since 2017. This is a record over a 7-year period. dating back to the 1850s, so quite significant. It started with Harvey, Category 4 landfall there in Texas in 2017, and since then we've had major hurricanes striking places from Louisiana and down to Florida as well, costing billions and billions of dollars.
Matt, so this is my 20th tropical system I've been in, and really we got down here around 1:30, 2 o'clock this morning, and the weather was pretty rough. I'd estimate we saw wind gusts of 40 to 50 miles per hour here in Marco Island, but I got to tell you, the infrastructure here held up really well. Did not see any power outages, did not see any sign of damage at all, and now we're in between rain bands here, and it's very nice out here right now. A nice little breeze across southwest Florida, and looking at the Gulf, you wouldn't even know there was a tropical storm out there just looking at it right now, basically flat with just some small waves at the moment. There's a little bit of a breeze with the occasional gust out there. It's warm and milky, but in between those rain bands, there's plenty people out and about right now getting a walk in this morning. Hopefully they have their ponchos, though, because there is more rain on the way. Here in Marco Island, I talked to a resident here. She recorded a little over 2 inches of rain. So this was pretty much your typical tropical storm, and Marco Island seems to have fared very well. Back to you guys.